What's up YouTube, JayzTwoCents here, and as I promised, I've got my Galaxy S3 brand new back from Verizon, so I'm going to do a no-holds-barred, head-to-head, hand-to-hand combat of the Galaxy S3 versus the iPhone 5, and we're going to find out which one deserves a spot in your pocket. Getting started here, we'll go ahead and take a look at some of the dimensions of the phone. The Galaxy S3 features a 4.8-inch screen. It's a 1280 pixel by 720, giving it a native 720p resolution. The iPhone 5, on the other hand, is featuring a 4-inch screen with an 1136 by 640 resolution, which is giving it a natural 16.9 aspect ratio, but it's a funky... doesn't really equate to any standard when it comes to resolution, but either way, it's packing 326 pixels per inch versus the Samsung's 306 pixels per inch. However, I have to say that when you look at these up close, you can't really see a difference. The iPhone 5 is coming in at 7.6 millimeters thin, and the Galaxy S3 is coming in at 8.6 millimeters thin. We're only talking 1 millimeters of difference here, although the Galaxy does feel a little thinner in your hand because of the rounded edges, as well as the fact that it's a bit wider. Let's go ahead and power these bad boys on here on the count of 3 and see which one boots faster. 1, 2, 3. Alright, so as you can see, the iPhone 5 is already booted. It's at the lock screen. However, the Galaxy S3 is still sitting there showing us some of the 4G radio waves and blah blah blah. Hey, I've got a new subscriber. Let's go ahead and give this new subscriber a shout out, shall we? Oh, there's a few of you. Well, we'll go ahead and give, oh my god, Jarukorn Thaungenchidavilis. Wow. Okay, well, you get a shout out, sir, because you subscribed in the middle of this video. Congratulations. And text messages. I'm a popular guy. Oh my god, how's a guy supposed to do an iPhone versus Galaxy review when they're all tweeting and whistling and emailing and notifications and blah 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 blah. Anyway, the Galaxy's lock screen, you've got quite a few different options here. You've got a pattern unlock, you've got a pin unlock, you've got a swipe to unlock, or a slide it across your table to unlock. It's all the same. The iPhone, on the other hand, you get two options. You get the slide to unlock, and you can either use a pin or a passcode, and that's it. There are no patterns or anything. If you want to do any of that stuff, you've got to do a jailbreak, and this video is not about jailbreaking. This is about head-to-head Android 4.04 Ice Cream Sandwich, which is a little bit old, but Verizon's slow on getting with the program, versus iOS 6 and the iPhone 5. What we'll go ahead and do here is both of these phones are currently on Wi-Fi, so we will go ahead and do a speed test comparison on both of these. We'll go ahead and start with the Galaxy S3 and let's see how they do. Okay, so the Galaxy came in at a 28 ping, a 20.23 megabits per second download speed, and a 7.72 megabits per second upload speed. I have a problem with this test, and here's why. My Wi-Fi is capped at 5 megabits upload speed. So how in the hell is it getting 2.72 megabits faster than my Wi-Fi is allowing? I don't get it. I don't trust that test. It's been happening all day. I don't know what the problem is there. Can't figure it out. But I don't trust those numbers on that upload. That's not accurate. iPhone 5, here we go. Alright, so here we go. The iPhone 5 is done. We got a 25 ping, a 26.93 megabits down, and a 4.88 up. That up is a little more what I expected to see with my cap on my Wi-Fi, but it looks like we're getting a little bit more download speed. I don't know if it just has to do with antenna configuration of the phones, or if the modem is simply better in the iPhone 5, but I've ran this test over and over the last 24 hours, and the iPhone is consistently faster on Wi-Fi than the Galaxy. Let's go ahead and put these bad boys on some 4G. I am in a very strong 4G area, so it should be a pretty good test, and we will come back with some results. Okay, so we've got 4G LTE loaded up on both of these devices. We'll go ahead and start these at the same time on the count of 3, and 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it took the Galaxy S3 a little bit longer to complete that test, but again, there's some interesting numbers here that I want to point out. Both of these are connecting to the exact same tower through the same cellular service. It's Verizon's LTE 4G, and they are connecting to the exact same test server. Yet I'm getting 109 millisecond ping on the Galaxy versus a 36 millisecond ping on the iPhone. Speeds are pretty close at 4.03 down on the Galaxy and a 4.58 down on the iPhone. However, the upload is only 1.34 on the Galaxy versus a 3.27 on the iPhone. Kind of funny that I was just bragging that I'm in a strong 4G area, yet these are some of the lowest numbers that I've seen. Alright, so as you might expect, the home screens on both of these devices are significantly different from each other. You've got Android that is all about open source and customization of widgets and multiple screens and being able to customize and add all the panels you want. If you want to remove a screen, you simply take it and drag it into the trash can and that's it, it's gone. If you want to add a screen, you hit the plus sign. It's very intuitive, it's very easy to use, it scrolls very nicely, very smooth. The iPhone, on the other hand, you're still stuck on icons. In iOS 5, they added the notification center, as you can see here. However, you get the weather widget, there's a stock widget, there's a couple of other widgets that you can add in there, but they're very small, they're not really, they're nothing like Android. You can't place them on the home screen where they're visible. You've always got to do the pull down. One other thing I'd like to show you here is that if I was to swipe this, I can get rid of the email right away, no problem. But on the iPhone, if I want to get rid of a particular notification, I can't do that. I have to either get rid of all of them or none by clicking that little X and hitting clear, and they're all gone. Nothing I can do about it. So not really too happy about that when it comes to iOS. It does feel a little bit archaic or old, maybe a little antique-y. I don't know why iPhone and Apple are just waiting so long to jump onto the widgets bandwagon. I think it's cool. Why not be able to customize your screen and make your phone tailored more to you? That's holding back iPhone as far as I'm concerned, and Android definitely wins when it comes to the UI layout, because Android is just all about turning the phone into your phone. One other thing I really like about the Android layout versus the iPhone is if you pull down this tab here, you've got the connection status bar at the top. So you can turn on and off Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, you can turn off your data, airplane mode, you can go into power saving mode. All sorts of different things can be controlled by that. On the iPhone, however, if I want to connect to Wi-Fi, I've got to come over to the settings tab and I've got to go to the Wi-Fi, and then I turn that on and then go back, and there we go. So when it comes to connectivity and ease of use of turning on and off various functions of the phone, the Android, again, in my opinion, wins that battle hands down. So what we'll do now is we'll go ahead and do some application launch tests. We're going to launch Netflix here. Both of these devices are connected to Wi-Fi again, so there's not going to be any of that radio weirdness going on in the Galaxy's corner slowing it down. So we'll go ahead and do that in 1, 2, 3. Splash screen first on the iPhone, followed by the Galaxy about a second later. Galaxy's loaded the gray screen first, content's coming in. I think that was a dead heat. And I don't know about you, but I think that was an absolute tie. So let's go ahead and load an episode of something here, something I've never been to before. Oh, look at that. They've got my princess shows. Y'all sees my princess shows. Okay, so we'll go ahead and open season 3 here, and on the count of 3 we'll go ahead and click the play button. 1, 2, 3. Looks like we got video playing first on the iPhone. Yes, we do. The Galaxy is still just wow, that's a little bit more delayed than I expected to be. If I play any more of this music, I'm going to owe a royalty. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and shut that down. We'll go ahead and try that again. Let's go back to Netflix. Okay, so this time let's go ahead and load an episode of Breaking Bad. 1, 2, 3. And that time the Galaxy S3 was ahead by about a quarter second over the iPhone. That one's definitely very close. We'll go ahead and do a tiebreaker here. Let's go ahead and load, let's say, episode 10 in 1, 2, 3. iPhone looks like it was opened a little bit faster. But we got video first on the Galaxy S3, so the Galaxy S3 has won that 2 out of 3 competition. I'm thinking something just might have gotten a little hung up in the code on the first one. but it does look like they may have loaded 2 different episodes. Oh well, I'm still going to go ahead and give it to the Galaxy. Okay, we'll go ahead and load up another application here. We'll open Facebook. That's one that most people use, and we'll go ahead and do that in a count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Looks like we had content first on the iPhone, but I don't know if that's necessarily a fair test. Since you have a bigger screen on the Android or the Galaxy S3, it was rendering more information, so I don't know if that was entirely fair, but either way, it was close enough to where you're not going to be able to tell a difference with either of these devices in your hand. It's going to be very fast. Both of these devices are very quick, very speedy. The screens are beautiful. The app stores on both of these devices are full of awesome apps. The Android store, or the Google Play Store, does have a lot more free apps than you're going to find on Apple. Apple apps tend to come at a little bit of a premium. They're going to range anywhere from $1 all the way up to $10, depending on what you want. You're going to find a lot of quality free apps on Android. So when it comes to the value of the App Store, I think I'm leaning a little bit more towards Android because of the fact that there's a lot of free apps, and granted they may have ads and whatnot in them. I would rather have an app with an ad in it that allows me to play the full game versus the free apps you get on Android where you may get 1 or 2 levels of a particular game, and then you get a in-store or in-app purchase screen that pops up and says if you want to play more, go ahead and buy the app. And that really gets annoying to me. We'll go ahead and load one more application. We'll load the YouTube app. Let's see if I can find it here. All right, and we'll do this in the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. And it looks like we had content loaded up first on the iPhone. And there we go. Seeing a bit more on the Galaxy because of the larger screen than you're going to see here on the iPhone. All right, so the question we've all been waiting for, which phone wins? Well, I think you've already learned by now, and by the time you're watching this video, there's probably already been Android sucks, iPhone sucks, iPhone's, a bunch of girls, and Android's a bunch of geeks, and you're going to see those comments no matter what. I welcome those comments. They're very funny to me, and I dare you to flame me because guess what? Both these phones are mine, so either way, I win and you lose. Let's go ahead and hear what you use and why. I like both of these phones equally. I can't choose a clear winner, but I can tell you there's things about the phones that I don't like, and let's go ahead and go into that. I already mentioned I don't like the home screen on the iPhone. It is just plain. There's nothing to it than icons. Android has, the easy way of adding and removing pages. You've got the widgets. The iPhone has non-expandable storage space in it. So what that means is if you buy a 32 gig like I did, that's all you got. 32 gigs. I've got the 16 gigabyte Galaxy S3, but I went with the lower model because I know that I can just buy another micro SD card and slap it in there, and I've got support all the way up to 64 gigabytes. So it's kind of a no-brainer to get the smaller model there. However, if I went with the 16 gig on the iPhone, I have no doubt I would fill that sucker up in no time whatsoever. One thing I don't like about the Android though, at least this particular phone, is I don't like how the power button is on the right side. I'm constantly picking it up, and where does my finger go? Bam, right there. So I'm always locking the phone, turning it off. I'm constantly bumping the buttons right here for the volume. It's because they're really soft and really easy to push. So, I mean, it's nice, but I think if the buttons were firmer, it wouldn't be as much of an issue. I also don't like the rear battery cover here on the Galaxy. It's very cheap and flimsy. Every time I take it off, I'm afraid I'm gonna break it. If you're an Android owner, you know that every once in a while you have to pull the battery to do a little soft reset because sometimes Android's memory usage just gets a bit clogged up and a software reset doesn't always cut it. So sometimes you gotta pull that battery out. I also don't like how flimsy this cover is and how thin it is because you've got the battery right underneath it. So if you're using the phone a lot or you're watching videos or playing games, you know these batteries in these devices get kind of warm, so the heat comes right through that and into your hand. Now on the iPhone, it's a metal back, and so it's still going to conduct the heat. It just takes a little longer to do so, and eventually that heat is going to come through. I like the fact that the Android has a standard I like the fact that the Galaxy has a standard micro USB port on the bottom. I have tons of those chargers laying around. I've got tons of those for the car. The iPhone 5, as you may know, switched from the 30-pin connector to the new Lightning adapter. So none of my old peripherals work. Not my iHome, not my car charger, not this docking, very dusty because I haven't been using it, not this docking station here because it no longer uses that cable. And Apple has the nerve to charge $30 for the adapter. Shame on you, Apple. Even your MagSafe 1 to MagSafe 2 adapter for your MacBook Pros are 10 bucks. 10 bucks. And that uses more metal in it than the adapter for the 30-pin. You're just trying to make money off of us because you know we have no choice. Lastly, I will say that I personally think that the screen on the Galaxy S3 is a little bit bigger than I would like. I think somewhere right around a 4.5 or a 4.2, kind of like the old X, is perfect. The 4.8 is gargantuan. Let's go ahead and hear what you own and why. What do you like? Which do you use? And let's hear your best Android versus iPhone and iPhone versus Android jokes. This has been JayzTwoCents. Check out my iPhone versus iPhone video, and check out Tech Addiction, which I put out every single Friday, where I talk about cool and interesting things happening in the world of technology. And as always, subscribe, like this video, and follow me on Twitter for more information on what's coming up from JayzTwoCents on YouTube.